Good day, friends. You're watching Tax Dosti videos. We are here with the latest Supreme Court of Pakistan judgment, and we have been discussing in Tax Dosti present videos for the previous 1 week on our YouTube channel different Supreme Court cases relating to different laws other than tax laws, family laws, business laws, banking laws. But today we'll be discussing a Supreme Court, a recent March 2023 Supreme Court case relating to sales tax. So let's move forward, Ji. The format is that you can find these courses on Supreme Court website, and basically when you go to case management, as you can see here, you will find that in the case management there's a section called latest judgment where you click and the latest judgment for that month will come out. So we are right now in March 2023. This is our third case, and today we will be discussing in detail a sales tax case, which is very interesting in terms of its content, as well as it took 28 years to reach the Supreme Court. So the case is the civil against the civil petition, and the collector of sales tax and central excise Lahore is the petitioner, meaning that they have gone to the Supreme Court against Q Brothers Engineering Private Limited, which are the respondent in this case. They have gone in Supreme Court against a Lahore High Court case, as you can see, civil petition, and it was STA number 13 of 2005, which was decided on 12th of November 2020. This is civil petition number 409L of 2021. It was uploaded on the Supreme Court website on 13th of March 2023, and the three honorable judges are Justice Qazi Faizisa, Justice Yahya Afridi, and Justice Muhammad Ali Mazhar, who is also the author of this judgment. This was a Supreme Court was acting in the appellant jurisdiction. It was listening to an appeal which was against the judgment of Lahore High Court. So now the starting point and the main point of this case is that the tribunal, which is now the same for income tax as well as sales tax, custom, excise, all the taxes have one inland revenue tribunal. Tribunal is the final forum for fact finding regarding any case. That means that once a commissioner or collector of excise duty or sales tax decides that a person has to pay tax and issues recovery notices, the person can appeal first of all to the collector or to the Commissioner Income Tax Appeal. Then the case goes to the tribunal. So this is the second and the highest forum where all kinds of facts can be discussed, meaning that whether an invoice is genuine, what kind of data is involved, what kind of facts are they verified, are they genuine or fake. So all these discussions have to happen at the tribunal stage. After this, the stage of High Court and Supreme Court, only cases involving the question of law, meaning that the court only decides on whether the law has been interpreted correctly or not. It does not go into the facts of the case, who was the buyer, who was the seller, what sales tax rate was charged, what kind of fixed scheme, normal scheme. So this is the main point to keep in mind. The tribunal is the final fact finding forum, and if you have a genuine case that you take to the Commissioner Appeal or collector of sales tax, and after that you don't get relief, then in tribunal it's your responsibility, it's the responsibility of your advocate, your representative, to put all the facts in front of the tribunal. Otherwise this will happen just like this happened in this case. The history of this case is that it is a case of sales tax of 1995-96, and it reached Supreme Court in 2021 and was decided this year, and it has taken 28 years for this case to be decided, and there was a lot of mismanagement on part of everyone. That is why it took so much time. So to give you a clear idea, because when you will read the judgment, which you can download from the Supreme Court website, you may get confused, or it's better that you for yourself also build a timeline of what happened when. So first of all, audit proceedings by the sales tax department were initiated against this respondent, Q Brothers Engineering, after 1996, and they said that they had wrongly claimed input tax, and that input tax was reversed, and then they had to pay that input tax as liabilities. Since they claimed it wrong, which we will see in detail, then the client, the Q Engineering Private Limited, went to first of all to the collector of custom, excise and sales tax. Now these names have been changed over the years, but it was then called collector of custom, excise and sales tax, and they decided that the sales tax department is right, and this input tax should be reversed, and this demand which has been created should be recovered from Q Brothers Engineering Private Limited. Then Q Brothers went to the Custom Excise Sales Tax Tribunal, which I told you previously that now it's called Inland Revenue Tribunal, and it is for all sales tax, income tax, excise duty, custom cases. All those cases go to the tribunal, and normally two members sit on the bench and hear the case, and it is the final forum where you can put out all the facts regarding the transactions and customers, suppliers and everything. Then the tribunal decided that no, Q Engineering is right, and they have rightly claimed. There was a bit of a dispute between the members, which we will see in later slide, but finally the decision was made in favor of Q Brother Engineering Private Limited. Then the sales tax department went to the Lahore High Court, and Lahore High Court again decided in favor of Q Engineering. And then this present case of Supreme Court of Pakistan, which unfortunately for sales tax department, the Supreme Court has also decided correctly that Q Brother Engineering is on the right, and this audit proceeding and this claim that they could not claim input tax, etc., is wrong. But it took 28 years and a lot of time of the client and money for the litigation. So that is why when I'm consulting our clients that want to set up business in Pakistan, I always say to them that setting up business in Pakistan is easy, but along with operations, you have to deal with some other things also that keep coming up. So this is one of the case that if they were running this business, and for 28 years they had to go to different tribunals, courts, Supreme Court, just to get their name cleared. As you will see that it was not their fault, Q Brother Engineering, but it was rather mismanagement on part of everyone. So let's see what happened. In the audit proceedings, the sales tax department said that during audit proceeding, it was revealed that Q Brother Engineering Private Limited, who is the respondent in this case, had claimed input adjustment of sales tax earlier on purchases. It had claimed input tax from purchases from its sister unit, Qadri Brothers Private Limited, meaning that they had purchased something from and they had claimed that input from Qadri Brothers Private Limited. And a show cause notice was issued to the respondents, Q Brothers Engineering, alleging that they had wrongly claimed this input adjustment of sales tax on purchases of MS channels from its sister unit, Qadri Brothers, meaning that there is something wrong. The Qadri Brothers either could not issue sales tax invoices, or the way they are claiming input tax, that's wrong. So, and the audit proceedings, audit department of sales tax department pointed out that invoices 1 to 150 were issued by Qadri Brothers, which was paying fixed sales tax on fixed production. So as you know that people who are paying fixed tax cannot issue sales tax invoices and cannot claim sales tax from their customers. So here, though in the petition, the petitioner is the sales tax department and the respondent is Q Brothers Engineering, but in this transaction, the Q Brothers Engineering is the customer and Qadri Brothers Private Limited is the supplier, and both are allegedly sister concerns or associated companies buying from each other. This was the starting point for which notice was issued by the sales tax department. Then definitely, as I told you, that against that order, against that recovery of input tax, the Q Brother Engineering went to the collector of sales tax, which agreed with the sales tax department, and then they came to the sales tax tribunal. Now, in the sales tax tribunal, normally two members are on the bench, so two members were, but they gave two different views on the allegation that the input claimed by the Q Brother Engineering was wrong. So the show cause notice was issued to the respondent in this case, and the allegation was, excuse me, I have to get rid of this reminder. Let's go back. I hope you are enjoying and following the case. I would encourage you to read the case for yourself also, and you can download the copy from the Supreme Court website in the March section. The allegation that it had wrongly claimed input, and one of the learned members said that there is no prohibition under the law for a person to claim input if he has a input invoice, meaning that the Q Brothers Engineering in reality had a proper input invoice number 1 to 150 were proper invoices, which was showing the total amount of sales and sales tax separately, and they claimed it in their returns. However, another learned member recorded his dissenting view and held that when the supplier, Qadri Brothers, could not charge output tax on a tax invoice and was paying sale tax on presumptive production, could not get the right of input. And the other member said that no, the supplier, Qadri Brothers, supplying to Q Brothers Engineering, is a business that has been declared as a fixed tax business, meaning that they will only pay a certain amount of input tax and they will not charge output tax or not issue a sales tax invoice. They can issue a commercial invoice. So in that case, Q Brothers cannot claim input tax. So since there was difference between the two members, another member was third member as a referee member according to law was elected, and the chairman decided that this was the final verdict of the tribunal, that the appellate tribunal partly allowed the appeal, meaning that Q Brothers Engineering were allowed to claim the input tax, and it also, the tribunal waived off the penalty, since the tax people are very fond of, if you don't pay your taxes on time, they put a lot of penalties. So the penalties were also waived off, but the tribunal did not give any definite finding on whether the two businesses, the supplier and the consumer, meaning Q Brothers and Company, Qadri Brothers and Company and Q Engineering are either, they did not give any finding on whether they are sister concerns, associated company, subsidiary company, holding company, or are they separate businessing having no association amongst themselves. So no guidance or no judgment was given on this point. Only input tax was allowed to Q Brothers Engineering to be claimed, and the penalty was waived off. Now the Supreme Court judge in his judgment gives the definition of subsidiary company, and for all those people who are accounting people may have no problem with understanding what is a subsidiary company, what is a holding company. For my lawyer brothers, I will explain that a subsidiary and a holding company means where one company holds a majority of shares or has invested in another company, meaning that if the other company has 100 rupees of assets, another company has invested 80, 90 or even 100 rupees in that company, meaning that both companies are then associated with each other. One is the holding company and the other is the subsidiary company. A wholly owned subsidiary means that all of the money has been invested by the other company. Now, it is important to note that while a holding company and its subsidiary are separate legal entities, the affairs of the subsidiary can be treated as the affairs of holding company for certain purpose under the law. So the judge is writing this because the tribunal, one of the member also took this view that it can, since both are maybe holding and subsidiary or sister concerns, so we can claim input tax of one or other. In here in UAE, basically the VAT, value added tax, has already solved this problem. VAT was introduced in United Arab Emirates on 1st of January 2018, and they have a concept of group VAT, which means that if you are a holding and subsidiary company, you can file your VAT return as one single entity, and there are benefits as well as risk or some disadvantages of doing so. So no such law, no such concept exists in the Sales Tax Act 1990 of Pakistani law, but there can be interpretations of these. So this matter came up like this. But even having said that, the tribunal did not say that the supplier, Qadri Brothers Private Limited and Q Brothers Engineering are subsidiary or holding companies or associated companies. They did not give judgment on that, or neither was any evidence produced in that case. So the Supreme Court then investigated and found out that the petitioner department, meaning the sales tax department, was unable to prove that Q Brother Engineering Private Limited, who was the customer in this case claiming input tax, is a sister concern or subsidiary of MS Qadri Brothers Private Limited. They were unable to prove at any stage, meaning at the collector stage, at the tribunal stage, and then nothing was done regarding this point in the Lahore High Court and in the Supreme Court, though this point has to be discussed and finalized at the tribunal level. The lack of tangible evidence, including record from security exchange. So this is the conclusion that Supreme Court reached, that there is no relationship between the two companies. Both companies are not one. So what does this mean? This means that a case that has taken 28 years to complete, still just because the tax department have a habit of fishing expedition, meaning looking in the dark, making tall claims about your business that are not true without first collecting evidence. They are not in the habit of even getting your name right. They may be getting your name wrong, just as we will see in this case. So fishing expeditions is a normal practice of income tax, sales tax, custom, excise duty, all the taxing authority, even sales tax and service tax authorities in Pakistan. So to avoid that, it's better to have a clear strategy, tax strategy, so that you can immediately prove to the commissioner himself that you are making the wrong, you are going in the wrong direction. And in this case, every department, sales tax department, and then everyone in the sales tax department kept on this fishing expedition for 28 years. So what was the main issue of the case? The Supreme Court said that the issue in hand is that the entity MS Qadri Brothers was accused of providing undue benefit to its sister concern, which we know that the Q Brothers Engineering is not a sister concern, but they were accused, and despite paying a fixed sales tax, M Qadri Brothers were not prohibited by law from issuing an invoice to the buyer. Now this is the main point to understand, please pay attention, that Qadri Brothers issued a sales tax invoice. So Supreme Court here, that I have quoted in red, Supreme Court is saying that they were not disallowed by the law to issue an invoice. They were disallowed to issue a sales tax invoice. They should have issued a commercial invoice to Q Brothers Engineering Private Limited, where they could not have added sales tax on it. They instead issued a sales tax invoice, which they could not because they were paying sales tax under the fixed sales tax law rules of 1995, and they should have issued a commercial invoice. And since they made the mistake, so the last line, and I think the most important thing, if the invoices were issued erroneously, meaning Qadri brothers issued the wrong invoices or in violation of the law, legal action should have been taken by the department for recovery from Qadri brothers and not from Q Brothers Engineering, who were the customer who had the right once they got the sales tax invoice to claim the input tax. So friends, fishing expedition, then lack of expertise on our part of our accountants in Pakistan mostly about sales tax and tax law makes this compound problem, and then the business has to suffer. So two advices, if you have understood the case, that basically a mistake made by Qadri brothers and Q Brothers Engineering were penalized, and the story was drawn out that they are sister concerns, but no proof was given of them, and then finally Supreme Court decided that no, enough is enough. So thank you very much. These are the numbers if you want to connect on WhatsApp regarding Pakistani taxes, UAE taxes, or UK or US. Fortunately, all are U's. So if you want to set up your business in Dubai, UAE, we are here. So thank you very much. I hope you enjoyed this Tax Dosti reporting videos, and hopefully we'll meet with another Supreme Court case, recent judgment, maybe regarding bail or corruption case or some election case. So we'll be covering all those on our Tax Dosti channel.